Happy Sunday, guys. I want to do a quick video for you today to go along with our Meet Rabbit series that we're doing. I really wanted to go in order, so I was going to start from beginning of getting rabbits to housing and feed, and then move on to breeding and kindling and all that stuff. But Esther is definitely pregnant. She has been building a nest for a few days now, and so I wanted to show you her setup and what she's doing, and then go over real briefly with you breeding and nesting and kindling and how we do it here. So forgive me, it is freezing outside this morning. It's really early and I wanted to get this done. As you can hear, loudmouth back here. Okay, so I'm going to start. I'm going to give you some rundown real quick. I put Esther in with Luke about 3.5 weeks ago, and I left her in there for a few days. I have found that, in the beginning of our journey, we would put does in with bucks, and a lot of times they would immediately mate. What happens is the buck will get on the back of the doe, and he'll do his little thing, and then he'll fall off, and so you know that he has bred her properly. So you do that a few times. We try to do that at least 4 times in a 2-day time period to ensure that the doe, there's no error for the doe being bred. Now, does that mean that the doe is always going to be bred after that? Absolutely not. There are so many factors when it comes to breeding rabbits. Rabbits don't breed like rabbits, contrary to what people might tell you. So, if she's healthy, if she's willing, and if everything checks out, she's really healthy, she's ready to breed, then in 28 to 32 days, you're going to have babies. We call those kits. Now, if she doesn't breed and she doesn't have babies, then you can always rebreed her however many times you like. I tend not to breed rabbits after they've kindled. If they've kindled once that year, I only breed them one more time that year. I don't breed rabbits constantly. I feel like I would treat it as, a dog breeder or even a horse breeder. I don't want to wear out their bodies. I know a lot of people do meet rabbits that way, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just my preference. I don't like to wear their little bodies out. So I only breed them twice a year. Sometimes I only get 1 litter from each doe a year. Just depends on our schedule here. So, there are a few factors that you need to understand when breeding rabbits. Number 1, you need to fully go into this understanding they don't breed like rabbits. You're not going to go in, put a doe in, have her, breed, and then get kits 30 days later. Sometimes it works like that. Sometimes it works like that here, but not all the time. So let me get my little sheet here. So first of all, there are some things you need to go over. This information is on our website, so I'm going to link it down below and you can read it. That way you don't have to take notes or anything. The unwilling partner. So a lot of does are unwilling to breed. And even if they are willing to breed, there are some factors that you need to understand. We don't breed our rabbits until they're 6 months of age. That doesn't mean they're going to breed at 6 months. It also depends on the weight factor. So if they are not big enough to breed, or their body feels like it's not big enough to be bred, then they won't breed. They won't take at the breeding. So you need to make sure they're old enough. Between 6 and 8 months, and after that 6 to 8 months, now those are for small to medium-sized rabbits. So if you're doing dwarfs or Rex is considered medium to large. Again, by weight. So smaller rabbits you can start at 5 to 6 months. Bigger rabbits don't go sometimes to a year. Now, like our Flemish Giant Missy, she wasn't able to be bred until she was about 9 months. So, and that's strictly because she's a larger breed, so it takes her longer to mature. And so we tried for Missy and couldn't get her to breed. And then finally she bred, and I realized, oh, well, that makes sense. She had a sister as well who wouldn't breed until she reached a certain weight. So the weight and the age factor is big in rabbits. So if you're trying to breed before 6 months, you could run into a lot of trouble. You could have premature birth if they do breed, if they were kind of ready to breed, or you could hurt your doe because she's too small to be bred. Don't do that. Let's see. So basically, how will you know if your doe's ready? What happens is you'll go out, you'll flip her over, and you'll look at her little private area. If it's bright red or like almost like a deep purple color, it happens a lot. That means she's ready. Doesn't mean she'll take? No. There are a lot of other factors. So then you move on to, if she's not breeding, if she's not taking, then what's the issue here? So it could be your buck. Your buck could be sterile. Your buck could be not ready to produce. This goes for does and bucks between 6 months to 8 months, or even up to a year. So make sure he's healthy as well. Another thing you need to think about is, are they stressed? I really have to stress good husbandry skills when it comes to rabbits. There are a lot of people who think that because you put them in hutches or something that they don't have to be cleaned out, and that's just not true. If your rabbit's running around in its feces all the time, it's not going to breed properly. And even if it does breed, you are setting yourself up for disease and nasty bugs that can hurt your rabbits and kill your babies. So I really can't stress enough that you need to keep clean hutches, and if you're doing a colony, you need to keep a really clean colony. In a colony, bucks and females will spray their urine to mark their territory, so that makes an even larger mess. So if you have a colony setting, if you're not moving that colony daily, or if you're not cleaning it out weekly, then sometimes even more than weekly, then that might be a really big issue. Another big issue is, do your rabbits have enough space? I'm going to show you how much space Esther has really quick. Esther has this really big hutch, okay? It's pretty darn big. Hey, Essie. She does not like me right now because she's not a morning bunny. She has some little bean sprouts there. But Esther has a really big area to live in. And I have found that the more area you give them, the more willing they're going to be able to breed, the healthier they are. Oh my goodness, we used to have rabbits in little hutches, like half the size of what Esther's in. And I found that they were stressed more often, didn't breed as often, and also they would get not sick, but just run down more often. And so we expanded and gave our rabbits nice big hutches. We built all of our hutches ourselves, and so that ensured that we were using the proper materials and we could have the right sizes that we wanted. And they've been happier in breeding, and they've been great. So you need to make sure they're not stressed out, either due to an unclean, unsanitary area, can't stress that enough, or because they're in too small of a space. If your rabbits are in too small of a space, they're not getting the exercise that they need. That causes lots of fat to build up around their organs, which especially is bad for females, because then they could be bred but not carry the pregnancy full term. So you need to make sure they're stressed, make sure they're not in the cold or the extreme heat. That can stress them out as well. Make sure they always have water, always have a good source of hay and food. Are they healthy? That's a big one. Rabbits, they're prey animals, and so very much like chickens, they're not going to show you if they're sick until they're on the verge of, passing sometimes. So, I heard a donkey. I didn't even know somebody had a donkey back there. Anyhow, let's see. So are they healthy? Make sure they don't have any sore hocks. Shh, you're being too loud. Make sure they don't have any sore hocks. Make sure they don't have sniffles or runny noses. Make sure their teeth are healthy. If their teeth are overgrown, that could cause big issues. Check their ears for ear mites. Check their body. Run your hand over their body before you breed them to make sure there's no bony Nothing's missing. Everything's in the proper place. Just overall health for them. And nutrition is a big one. If your rabbits aren't getting enough nutrition, they're not going to breed. If you find that they're not, getting up and going, you might want to add some Boss, which is black oil sunflower seeds, to their feed, which we do as a treat. If you give it too much, they'll get fat. Nobody likes a fat rabbit. They won't breed thin either, which is another thing. If they're too skinny or too fat, they're not going to breed either. You might get some fall-offs from your buck, but if they have too much fat internally, they're not going to carry. The next point is the weather bad? I know that sounds really kind of like I'm going out on a limb here, but if it's been really rainy, I have noticed, or exceptionally snowy, my rabbits tend to not breed as well. And this comes from lack of vitamin D from cloud coverage. If your rabbits aren't getting enough sunlight, then many times they can slow down in their breeding because they need, just like chickens do, they need that sunlight to breed. Most animals breed in late winter for springtime babies. Why is that? That's because in late winter, the days start growing longer again, which is another reason your rabbit or your chickens start laying again in the late winter time, because the days are getting longer. So it's the same with animals. So like deer are already bred right now because, which you might not have realized, but we realize that because we hunt. We stop hunting after a certain point because we don't want to kill a doe that's already pregnant. We've been there, and it's not... there's nothing pleasant about it. So that they'll have babies in the springtime, and that comes from longer days. When the days are longer, they breed better. Okay, so those are basics. Are they stressed? Are they healthy? Are they the right age? Are they the right weight? Do you have clean sanitary area? If you do, and they're ready to go, you're ready to breed. So then what happens is your buck and your doe need to get together. You can put them together for a few minutes and be lucky enough to have your buck and doe fall off. Or if that's not working for you, I tend to keep them together for 4 days. So Esther was with Luke for 4 days, and it looks like it paid off. I never saw him fall off, which I was concerned about because he's a newer buck, but apparently he did. So she's pregnant. To my knowledge, she looks pregnant. She feels pregnant. Her little teats are enlarged and they're filling up with milk. So could it be a false pregnancy? Yes, you can have those in rabbits, but I really doubt it because she's really showing other symptoms of being pregnant. So I'm going to show you her nest area. Now, she started building a nest, like I said, almost a week ago. It doesn't look, it's nothing elaborate because she's just preparing. This week, now that she's due this week, she'll build a much bigger nest, and it'll be much more elaborate. And I'll take a picture of that. But I don't know if you can see back there or not. That where she's hopping, she had built a nest back there. Hey, S. Now, Esther is a really good mom, so she doesn't want me anywhere near her nest, even though there's not any babies in it. So, does can be really aggressive when they're pregnant and when they're building nests. So, I try not to stress her out too much, but now, I want you to understand that we don't use nesting boxes. I know that sounds kind of bad. We do have nesting boxes. I'll show you. We have built extra large nesting boxes for our big rabbits, so like the Flemish giant rabbits. And then we built some smaller ones for our Rex rabbits. We built them by hand. We didn't spend hardly any money on them. We used what we already had from building hutches and renovations we've done inside. It doesn't cost hardly anything. You just build it. You can find a template online, and then we put wire bottom in the nesting boxes, but we don't use them. I can't tell you the last time I've used a nesting box. I have found that my rabbits, when given the right tools, can flourish better without the nesting boxes. In hutches as big as these, sometimes the kits can jump out of the nesting box and not get back in, which is detrimental to them, especially when it's cold outside. I don't know if you can see my breath or not. They need to stay warm. She knows better how to keep them warm than I do. So I give her a ton of straw, and she'll find a corner in her hutch, and she will build massive, massive amounts of hay. We call it her little hay stash when she has straw in her mouth. And she'll build massive amounts of nest material. And we've done that for years now, and they do fine, and actually they do better because I don't have to worry about moving a nesting box around to where she wants it. And what if she builds a nest on the outside of the nesting box, and then... So we don't use them. We don't use nesting boxes. A lot of people do because that's what you're supposed to do. We don't. As long as they're given the proper tools and a ton of straw, she's going to do fine. She's going to build herself a nice little nest, and probably much easier because she's finding that corner that she wants. She kindles in that corner every single time, so it's no surprise that that's where she's building her nest this time. So as a nursing mom, you need to make sure once her kits are born, I wait a day. I wait for them because they can still be wet and really kind of sticky. They're born without fur. Now the second day, they start getting their fur in. So I might peek in on the first day, but I don't like to stress mom out. So I'll wait, and I'll go out the second day, and with warm hands, unless it's really cold outside, I'll pull the fur and the straw away, and I'll try to count. And if there's any dead ones, I'll pull them out. Now, if they're fine, I will go ahead and cover them back up, and I'll wait a few more days before I actually take the kits out. I want them to be full and healthy and strong and warm. So I'll get a blanket, I'll put it in a bowl, I'll pull the kits out, count them one by one, look them over, and then put them back. So then it takes, a few weeks. Around the 2-week mark, they're going to be jumping all over the place, and they're really cute. I'm going to show you a video.
Hi, babies. Hi. What are you just all over the place? You're just all over the place. Huh. Oh my goodness. Oh my, stay in. There's Mama. Stay in.
After 2 weeks, they're going to start nursing less. Our rabbits tend to start weaning. Some of them have weaned completely by 4 weeks of age, and that's fine, but they still need to be with mom for at least 6 to 7 weeks. And then once they've transitioned over to pellets and hay, they can be moved to a separate hutch so they don't stress mom out. In Virginia, and I think in most states, you cannot legally sell kits until they are 8 weeks of age. If they are meat kits, you can sell them as young as 6 weeks or younger, but even if they're meat rabbits, I keep them here until 8 weeks. I have mentioned that we do show and meat quality rabbits, and so show quality I might sometimes hold on to a little longer just to see what they're going to dress out as with their fur. So selling rabbits after she's kindled and nested and had them. Don't go on Craigslist. Don't put them on Craigslist. I actually had PETA, P-E-T-A or whatever, email me, call me, almost show up at my door one day because I had them labeled as meat rabbits, and I'm not into that kind of drama or stress. So the bulk of our rabbits have been sold on Facebook, on our Homestead page, on our website, and then posting in groups on Facebook, like the Rex Rabbit groups and things like that. So word of mouth actually has been a really big selling factor for us. Friends of friends of friends of friends have bought rabbits from us, and many times we sell out very quickly. I have not had kits get over 10 weeks of age before them going. So we've been pretty successful here, but that's because of the breed that we've chosen. That's something you need to think about too. So after that, you are more than ready to breed your doe again, or you can wait until the next year. Breeding seasons, a lot of people have breeding seasons. We do as well. But I tend to slow down in breeding in November. And then typically I pick back up again in March, but I've got some people wanting breeding stock for this spring and summer. And so I decided to go ahead and breed Esther, and also as an experiment. Now, a lot of people will breed 2 does at one time, and you should. I mean, you really should, in case one doe does not take care of her babies or something happens to that doe. But sometimes space doesn't allow that. So Esther's the only one pregnant right now. Is that a bad thing? No, because I know Esther's going to take care of them. The only way it would be a bad thing is if something happened to Esther. Now, at 2 weeks of age, if something happened, you can easily hand feed them. But when they're, a week or so old, it's really hard to hand feed baby rabbits. We know. We've tried. And it's really hard to hand feed baby rabbits when they're really little. It's probably one of the most difficult that I've experienced. So, there's that. Should you do 2 does at one time or more? Yes, but we just don't have the space for it right now. And I'm not trying to overpopulate ourselves when I don't have the space, so I'm just making that wise decision. What else? I think that's it for breeding. Do check out that blog I was telling you about. I'm going to put it below in the links, so you can go on our website and check that out. It's linked on Mother Earth News as well. And then we have some other articles there that you might be interested in that I'll touch on further in videos in the future. Anyhow, if you have questions, please comment. I will try to answer them. If you need rabbits, these babies will be ready in, 9 weeks after she kindles. And then, if you haven't liked or subscribed, join us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. I'm hoping to add more this coming week. And I hope you guys have an incredible Sunday. Bye.